Okay, so I am going to take a break from, what was it, Gleam? I can't remember the name now. Whatever the third book in the Plated Prisoner series is. That's beside the point. Regardless, I think it's Gleam. Today is release date for Wisteria by Adeline Grace. This is the third and final book. At least I think it's the final book. As far as I know, this is the final book in the Belladonna series. And I'm so excited for this. I'm so beyond excited for this. I've been waiting for way too long. So in the first one, you're following Signa, and it's kind of like a YA mystery, slight romantasy type thing. It's definitely got more of like a grim, dark atmosphere, but you're following Signa, and she's an orphan, and she's passed from family member to family member, and all these, like, they keep meeting their untimely death. Every time she moves in with a new one, she finally is taken in by the Hawthorns, which I think is like her uncle or something like that. I don't really remember. But the wife had passed away, and she is there trying to like help the family after the like mom's ghost comes back and says something about poison. So now it's kind of her going, trying to figure out who did that. And the only real way for her to do that is to team up with Death himself. It was a super interesting plot. I really, really, really enjoyed this first book. It is one of my favorite series. The second one is Foxglove, and that kind of just still continues on from that first story. And there was a new character in here that I really enjoyed. And the ending to this has had me wanting Wisteria to come out for so long, because it was not what I was expecting at all. And now I need to find out where that ending was leading to, because I'll tell you what, the tension, the banter, and just the sass from our female main character in here, loved it. Top tier. I don't know who I liked more, her or Signa. So if you haven't picked up this series yet, and you like kind of those more dark, grim atmospheres, you're looking for like a YA that got mystery and subtle plots of romance in them, I highly recommend the series. I absolutely love it. I eat it up every single time, and I cannot wait to get to this. I did start this a little bit this morning, but when I say a little bit, I mean like I'm literally only on the first chapter, I think. I've read the prologue and I'm on the first chapter. I'm literally on page 7, which is 6%. I think this said it was like 400 pages long. So I'm super excited to get to this one. I kind of forgot. I kind of wish I would have went back and reread these, because I do kind of forget what happens. But, oh, also I forgot the nicknames in these. Everything about these books. I'm telling you, like, you need to pick them up. And it's YA, so there's really no spice. I mean, there's like minuscule amounts, but nothing crazy. It sticks pretty true to YA. But yeah, you know, I wasn't gonna pick up the physical copy of Wisteria. I was just gonna read it. But holding these two in my hand and looking at them, someone tell me not to. By the time I upload this video, I might have already done it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm not gonna do it. I won't do it. Anyway, that's beside the point. We're not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna get back to reading this. Pick it up if you haven't. Okay. It's only a little bit later. Not even a little bit. Like, I mean, it's barely later. But I had to come on here and just tell you guys that I am still only on chapter 1. 7% of the way through the book. And the banter and the tension is already there. I'm already eating up this book. I'm hoping that it does not change at all, because I just have to read. This won't be a spoiler, because there's going to be no context behind this. The first thing he says to her, and he like whispers it, is, "Hello, love. I hoped you wouldn't make it." Which, if you have no context behind this, and you haven't even read like any of the other books, you may be like, okay, but if you've read the other 2 books, you understand my excitement behind this. The tension is there. The banter is there. And I cannot wait to see where this goes with these two. I had thought that I had kept, like, in my Notions app, I thought that I had put down, like, the important thing, well, what I thought would be important in the last one, but I guess I didn't. And I am kind of I remember very, very small traces of like what was happening at the end of the last one, but I kind of forgot. Maybe I'll remember as I'm reading, because as I'm reading this, I am kind of remembering a little bit more of what happened in the last one, but there's just a couple things where I'm like, I know that something happened at the end of the last book, but like I can't really remember how this part came to be. You know? I thought about going back and reading the last couple chapters, but like all of it may not even be in the very last chapters, so I'm just like, I don't know. All I know is I'm already eating up this book, and I've only read the prologue, and I'm almost done with chapter 1. No one talked to me today. Because this is all I'm going to be doing. That's it. I'm going to binge this book like it's my freaking job. This reminds me why I was so excited to get this book after reading the last like 20% of that book. Okay, so I wanted to give a little bit of a update on Wisteria. I'm almost at the 50% mark. I'm at like 46%, so I figured I'd just do an update. So far, I'm loving this book. It has enemies to lovers, which I'd say a good solid like 90% of the time if it has that in there, I'm gonna eat the book up. The banter between the two main characters, perfect. I absolutely love it. Both of them are like equally as sassy as the other, and the things that they say to each other are so freaking funny. I've laughed too many times in this book to count. And also, there's like, I don't know, there's so many like little bits and pieces of like tension and just like subtle touches, but then they'll turn right back to get away from me, don't talk to me, don't look at me, don't touch me. It's the tension. I'm living for it. I'm loving this book. I had a feeling that I was really gonna enjoy this book just based off of like the way that the last book ended. I had a very strong feeling that this one was going to be one of my favorites in the series. I really loved the first book, so Belladonna has been my favorite. I enjoyed Foxglove, but it just wasn't quite as up there as Belladonna was. It was just decent to me. This one so far, I'm living for it. I think that I might like this one. I don't know. I'd say that this one's on equal grounds of Belladonna. That one I just really love. But like I said, I'm almost to the 50% mark, and there's still the tension, the banter, little breadcrumbs that just keep me like wanting to sprint through this book to just see where it ends. I want to get to the lovers part, but like I don't want this book to end because it's just so good. I'm trying to think of like what else is in here that I can talk about without like ruining it. I guess I'll do like a spoiler portion at the end and I'll read some of the highlight. But yeah, I guess that's really all that I have date-wise. But there's so many little tropes in here that I just love in a book, especially when you put all of them together. It's always going to be my favorite. Anyway, I'm going to get back to reading because that's all I really want to do. I love the series. I can't recommend it enough. I'm in the middle of cleaning, so ignore all of this. I needed to give my update because I did finish Wisteria finally. It gets 4.75 stars. I finished it a couple hours ago, so I gave it some time to really sink in, and I'm giving this 4.75 stars. I absolutely loved our two main characters. I loved their banter. I loved their chemistry, their dynamic, everything about it. Top tier. I will say, however, the reason it gets knocked down a little bit is solely for there's just some things that don't fully get resolved, which maybe there will be like a little novella that ends up coming out, which fingers crossed, I hope that's the case. And it's mainly with, it's not even with these two main characters, it's mainly with our character from the first book, Signa. It has to do with her family, and so I would really love to get like a little short novella to explain that further. Even maybe like a spin-off series off of some of the other side characters that are in this one particularly that don't really get talked about. I have my fingers crossed that maybe that's in the works. Maybe that's what's going to be happening. I would love to get more of a background on them. But this book had me going through every emotion. The ending had me crying. It's not exactly how I wanted it to end, but I am overall very happy with how it ended and the resolution that you get. I feel like it was definitely a good ending that gave you good closure. It doesn't really like leave you hanging in any way. It doesn't really have you being like, oh, okay. I felt like this was, I don't know. I really loved Belladonna, so I'm not gonna go to the extent of saying that this one was my favorite, but I definitely think it's pretty closely tied with Belladonna. I couldn't tell you in this moment which one I truly liked better. I loved them each for like a different reason. This one, I feel like I enjoyed more so for the romance versus like the plot of the book itself. It's still there. I just don't think it was like as strong as the first one. The first one, I feel like I more so enjoyed for the mystery aspect of the book. This one has a little bit of mystery, but I don't think it's to the extent or as like gripping as Belladonna's was, and vice versa with that. I felt like Belladonna's definitely had like the subplot of romance to it, where I felt like that was more so the focus on this one, which I'm not saying that in a negative way. I liked them both for very different reasons, and overall I really think that this is one of my favorite series that I've read. So if you are looking for a YA romantasy with mystery in it, I would highly recommend this series. There is still some spice, but it doesn't go into like a lot of detail, but they're still there. So know that it's like kind of an older YA series. I think that this is a really, really good fall series to binge, because even though it's not like strictly set in a fall setting, it has more of like those dark and kind of grim atmosphere to it. So that's really like the biggest update I had for this, is just I wanted to say 4.75 stars for this. Really enjoyed it. I do recommend this series a lot. There are so many books that I want to read right now that I'm fighting the urge to go and read them. I'm gonna go back to, because I am on page 67, chapter 5. I'm gonna go back to reading Gleam now. And once I hit like that 50% mark, I am going to be back to update you guys. But, oh, I did also update my Kindle stickers. I wanted to have like a fall, like a cozy fall vibe right now, and then I plan on eventually changing it as we get closer to Halloween to my Halloween stickers. I kind of forgot what was going on in Gleam, but I mean, I am only 67 pages in, so it'll be fine. I'll remember as I'm reading again. But yeah, read the Belladonna series. I really recommend it. Okay, I wanted to do a quick update because I finally made it to the 50% mark. I made an update yesterday. I thought I had food poisoning. I don't really know what it is, but it's still going, so I don't think it's food poisoning. So I've had a lot of time to read today. I've made it to the 50% mark, and it's gotten a lot better. I am enjoying this a lot more. We're finally getting to the point where like things are actually starting to happen. The banter is kicked up a ton, which I've enjoyed so much. I think my favorite character right now is Commander Rip, and I'm glad that we're finally getting more of him in this one. King Midas still gets on my absolute last nerve. My absolute last nerve. Every time his name is even mentioned, I want to strangle someone, okay? But yeah, we're finally starting to get somewhere. Things are starting to pick up way, way, way more than that 25% mark. I would say, I think when I updated yesterday, I was at like 27%, and I think, or it was like 25, but it wasn't too much. It was only like 5% further, of course, when things started picking up. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the banter. It's definitely getting way better. My thoughts on this book are changing a lot. But yeah, overall, this book has definitely started to change for the better. I'm hoping that the rest of the books go the way that this one is. Okay, I wanted to do my final update. I finished Gleam last night. I understand now. I understand. This gets 4 stars. This has been my favorite one out of the series so far. Like I said before, I still didn't really like this up until like the 30% mark, and then all of a sudden, it just hit me. What can I say? One of my favorite book boyfriends now. Bury me with that man, please. Also, the ending to this, I mildly saw coming, but not really the way that it went at all. So overall, the ending to that became very quick-paced. A lot of things happened that I really did not see coming, and I need to see more of Rip. So, with that being said, 4 stars. If you haven't picked the series up, now I understand why people recommend it. There's still a couple things that like mildly bug me. I'm enjoying the series, but I'm not as hooked in it as I have been with a lot of other series. So I'm still a little bit skeptical, but with the way that each story has progressed, I've liked it more and more and more, and I feel like it's gone more in a good direction. So I'm looking forward to getting to the rest of them. Very easy to follow along. Like, nothing's really too confusing with it, and I like that. The magic system is very easy to follow along with. I have liked pretty much every character besides Midas. It's like the only one that I have been irritated with. But every other character, and Orin, let's be honest, Oren, however you say her name. I think it's Oren. Up until now, again, didn't really like her. But that's changing a lot, and I'm liking the way it's going. That is really all I have for you guys. I guess that concludes this reading vlog of continuing series I'm in the middle of. I finished one series that I was in the middle of now, so I can take that off of here. I don't remember how many books are even in this, because this was book 3. I think there's like 7 books, isn't there? Or is there 6 books? I don't know. I think I'm only like halfway through the series, so that's gonna take me a while to finish that series. Also, I have a really strong urge to reread the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I have so many other books I need to read on my actual TBR. Blythe, I'm telling you, is like my favorite character. She is my spirit animal. So this is the part where like it's Blythe and Eris's wedding. Blythe says, "I will wait out the rest of my life rooted in the spot if it means besting you." And then she says out loud in front of everyone, "I will marry him and I will love him even more when he is sick." I was eating their wedding scene up. I absolutely lived for that scene. I need this to be made into a TV show because seriously, I'd binge it all. I would binge it all. And then he says, "You are a demon in human flesh." Okay, this part was cute, and I know where this is going now. I mean, I've pretty much known. So, in the end of Foxglove, like, going into this, it's been a while since I read Foxglove, so I kind of forgot, but, like, at the beginning of going into this, I don't know what at the end of that book made me think that Blythe was Eris's or like Fate's wife, like his old wife that he's been looking for. But then it was talking about at the beginning of this how he thinks that Signa is his late wife, which really had me confused because like when I picked this book up first, I really had it in my mind that Blythe was his late wife, reincarnated. Which I truly just don't remember the end of Foxglove, and I've just been too lazy to go back and read it. But then this also says, "Burn as brightly as the sun if you wish, Eris, but I will not look away." And then he like talks about how his wife said that to him once after their first real argument. There's so much, their banter, I absolutely love it. I've been living for it. Also the fact that her dad was coming here and she had like made up this fake place, and he ends up saying that he accepts her invitation even though all she really told him was, "I wish you could be here." And then this man literally pretty much burns himself out using his magic to make this fake whole entire city with a whole entire castle that she designs. This man almost burns himself out to create this whole place just for her, so that her dad sees that she is being taken care of. Tell me that's not perfection, okay? Tell me this man doesn't care. When Rip changed to Slade to kiss her on the balcony, I was kicking my feet. I loved that scene so much. But when he switched, and I'm like at the point where they're in the library right now, and he like pins her against the bookshelf and is trying to explain the part that pissed me off, where they were like at dinner with Queen Kayla or whatever her name was, and Midas had like the fake Rip, which hasn't been explained yet. I'm curious as to see like where that goes, how that works. Has the fake Rip like carry her to the harp, and Slade just sits there. That part irritated me so bad. I was like, please don't make him into another Midas. The library part right now where he has her like cornered and is trying to explain why he acted like that, and I haven't finished that. I wanted to update before, which I probably should have finished that and got like the explanation from him before coming on here, but that part irritated me. I'm hoping that he's about to explain something that makes sense and not just some bullshit answer. There is one point, I want to know the full reason why her ribbons are like drawn to him. I'm gonna assume that they're like mates. There's like that kind of thing going on. But this line right here, "If I knew you had interest in tangling yourself up in my bed, I would have at least had the forethought to be in it already." That whole scene, from her turning his pillow into gold and then him finding with her ribbons like tangling themselves up in the bed, I was laughing. I loved it. And then also the line of, "The moment that sun dips, Goldfinch, you're mine." Done. Folded. Also, I figured she would be the one to kill Midas, but I really didn't expect it to happen at like that announcement portion. I also did not see, I thought that she was just gonna get her powers back even while the sun was down. I saw that part coming, but I thought it was just gonna be her still being able to gold touch things. I did not see her being able to like remelt the gold that she had gold touched. Really didn't see that one coming at all. I also want to know more about Slade's brother. I don't remember his name now. I know it started with an R something. I need to know more about him. Also, I need to know what exactly is going to happen with Slade rotting her to get her to let go of her magic. I have a lot of questions that I need answered, and the only way I'm going to get that is by moving on with the series, which I'm going to do fairly soon. I plan on pretty much picking that up next, but right now I'm in the middle of reading an arc. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, make sure to leave a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all my future videos, because I do have more reading vlogs on the way. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!